Hey, welcome to Tangent Code. Tangent Code is a collection of test driven programming challenges. And this video is about setting up tanco, which is the command line tool that tests your program against the test descriptions coming from our server. Presumably, you're watching this because you've seen something about one of our challenges and you want to try it out for yourself. If so, you're probably in the right place. But please note that I'm filming this in January of 2024 for the alpha release of our software. So if January 2024 is in the past and you're not watching this on the Tangent Code website, you should probably go to https://tangentcode.com setup and make sure you're watching the latest version as things are likely to change. Also, if this is the latest version of the video, some of the things you see on the screen might have changed a little bit, but the actual steps should be more or less the same. So with that, let's get you set up. Okay, so we're just going to follow along through the tutorial on this page. Note that for the alpha test, if you want to set this up, you will need a Google account and you need to be using something other than Firefox. Also, if you need help with any of this, click this link to go to our Discord server and ask for help in person. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is install Python. You go to python.org, click on Downloads, pick your platform, and install it. Make sure you get at least Python 3.11. Right, your Python will come with a program called pip. You can type Python --version to just double check what version you're running. And then just write pip install tanco. So this error is telling me that I have installed Python using a system administrator account, but I did not run pip using a system administrator account. That may happen. If so, just do whatever you need to do to open a administrator shell and then run pip install tanco. Okay, this will give you a command called tanco, and it includes a bunch of little subcommands. For example, tanco version shows you what version you're running. It does that by calling pip, so pip is giving this error message. Okay, so we've installed pip install tanco. So you can run pip install upgrade tanco if you already had a version and you want to upgrade it. As you saw, you can run the tanco command, and it shows all the things you can do with tanco. And we're going to start by running tanco login. Okay, so what just happened there was the first thing that it did is it created a database for me. This is where tanco stores all the local information. It's a SQLite database. You can go in there and inspect it yourself if you like. And then it opened a web browser and very quickly logged into the system. If you have not logged in before, it will actually give you a button that says, please log in with your Google account. But because I'm already there, it just remembers who I am. And so I'm logged in. The next thing you want to do, you can type tanco who am I, and that will tell you who you're logged in as. So that should show your email address. Again, for the alpha version, you do have to use a Google account to log in. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is create a working directory for our program, and then probably run git init on it. So in my case, I put all my stuff under a version directory, and I'm going to call this learntris because I'm going to use a programming language called red. I already have the directory, it's empty. So I say git init, and eventually I'll commit something here. All right, so now that we're in the directory, we're going to run tanco init. And what it's going to do is it's going to hit the default tanco server at tangentcode.com. This is like our API. And it's going to list all the challenges that are there. So if you're in the future, there may be several things listed here, but right now it's a brand new server, and I imported exactly one file, which is the classic version of learntris. And so whichever one is available to you that you want to do, you type the name of that thing, and it's going to initialize a project for you. And it says edit the .tanco file to configure how to run your project. So you can see it's created a .tanco file. And this is just a JSON script. And we need to edit this file. By default, it's going to try and run a program in the local directory called my program. And we're going to change this. So I'll show you two ways to do it. So if you're running a compiled program, then you would just put in the name of the program. So in my case, this is going to be called learntris.exe. And maybe if you're on the Linux platform or OS X or something like that, you won't have an extension like this, but that's if it's an executable. So we're going to do that first. In fact, one reason I'm using red is because it makes executables, or you can interpret it. So we're going to cover both cases. So now we type as it says, tanco check. And of course, that file does not exist, so it's going to complain that it couldn't find it. So to write a red program, you just say red, and then you give it a title, like a learntris implementation in red. And then you put that in redtris.red. And then you have the red compiler installed, and you will say red c compile redtris.red. This actually takes about a minute the first time you try to compile something. It's going to dump a bunch of stuff in the directory, so we'll fast forward. Okay, that's probably a little longer than a minute, but you can see there's a bunch of stuff in here. But in particular, we have redtris.exe, so now we can run tanco check, and it should be able to run that. And that program does nothing, and it just exits, and that's exactly what we needed to do. It exits without throwing any errors, and so that's why tanco passes. And then if we want to instead run like an interpreted version of this, we can type red without the C on redtris.red. And that executes almost immediately, but that changes the way we have to run this. So now we would say red, comma, redtris.red. And then we change this word shell true because it's going to find red somewhere in our path. And if we run tanco check again, that should work. So now it runs redtris.red successfully. All right, either way, we are now ready to start the test. So if we type tanco status, you'll see some information about the server. And if you click on this, it'll actually take you to the server. It's always this server here. And what you're going to want to do is go to you can browse the challenges. This is where we got the list of challenges to look at before. And if you click on my data, this is where your information is going to be. So you're going to click on my data, and it will tell you to log in. And again, you need to be in Chrome or something other than Firefox just for the time being. And again, it will just log you in with your Google account. And then you have to pick one of these things. You will only have one the first time you log in, but because I've done this several times tonight, I have several different attempts. Eventually, there's going to be a way for you to name these and say what language they're in and whatnot. So if you have more than one of these and you don't know which one it is, you can type tanco status and find your attempt. And just look at the first couple letters. Looks like a WVY, and we just find the one that has WVY, which turns out to be the one at the bottom. So we click on this, and then this is going to be like our homepage from now on. And you can see that we're in start mode. So the state is start, and the state tells you what to do next. So if you're in start mode, you're going to run tanco next, and then you could be one of these states. Generally, you're going to be in build mode, where you've got a new feature and you're building that feature. So you keep running tanco test until it passes. And then when they all pass, then you'll be in change mode, which means all the tests have passed, and you either make improvements or you run tanco test, or when you're done making your improvements, you run tanco next to proceed. And then that will put you back in build mode with a new problem. And then anytime a test that you had previously passed fails, that will put you in fix mode. And it will tell you which test you're going to have to run. And then, of course, when you get to the end of the challenge, you will be done. Okay, so we're in the start state, so we should run tanco next. And I'm going to put this window actually next to the other window so that we can see what happens. So we type tanco next over here, and you'll see that simultaneously it has sent a message over to this window. So this is a WebSocket and saying we're connected. So when this one talked to the server, the server sent a message to the browser that was watching this attempt. And it tells us that we're supposed to look at IOQ, which we can click on and see the information that we see over here. So we're going to use the Q command to quit, and learntris should not produce any output unless explicitly instructed to do so. Well, that's already what happens. We have a program that does nothing. It doesn't produce any output. So if we run tanco test, this test should pass. All one test pass. And see, it immediately says all known tests have passed, so we're in change mode. This may be a good time to commit your changes, spend some time improving your code. When you're ready, run tanco next to work on the next feature. Now we can make whatever changes we want to clean up our code. So let's say we type print hello, because we think that's going to be a nice addition to our program, and we don't think it's going to break anything. But of course it does, because now it says the test has failed, and we're now in fix mode because we've broken the original test. And you can see that it tells us to remove the line hello. We have a diff here that says hello. All of this is going to probably be cleaned up a little bit on the screen later. This is a backend API. And there will be a whole new front end on it, but even the API here is probably going to be cleaned up quite a bit in the future. This is an alpha release, but this is the idea. You'll have this on your screen, or you can look in the terminal, and either way, you'll see what you need to change to make it happen. So in this case, we have to remove that line. And when we do, we can run the test again, and it's all known tests have passed. So we run tanco next, and probably we would check in our code here. And then now we're on the print statement, and the print statement instructs learntris to print the state of the matrix, the rectangular array of cells in which the blocks appear, and we're supposed to print it out as text, and that would be the next step. And so we would write the code to print this output, run tanco test, and if it works, then the test will pass, we commit it, and then we just keep doing this in a loop until we finish the challenge. Okay, hopefully that's everything you need to get started. Let us know on the Discord if you run into any trouble, and good luck.